Ocean's 11. Why the original beats the remake. In this video, I am going to compare the Ocean's 11 movies, and I'll tell you why the 1960 original movie beats the 2001 remake. The story, in a nutshell, is this. A bunch of guys come together to rob casinos. That's it. The original 1960 movie is nice. It's full of charm. The 2001 remake is bland dog shit. Here's why. The original gives us a good sense of the early 1960s. It has good world building and a good mood setting. People are polite, cheerful, and optimistic. Everybody is well dressed. The men look super sharp in their suits. And the women are beautiful, fit, feminine, and friendly. There is a sense of warmth between everybody, such as the way they greet each other. The way they crack jokes, etc. When we look at the filming locations, the interior design, the cars, the fashion, all of them carry the feeling of a sense of style. It just felt good having those things. For example, the vintage cars of the 1960s look way better than most cars of what we see today. The cast is super talented. They are good singers as well as good actors. Every line is delivered with immense confidence, well rehearsed and well shot. You can tell they enjoyed being in this movie, such as Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr., and let's not forget Frank Sinatra. Each of them with a mixture of being cocky and funny. Either way, the characters are likable. The two things that annoyed me were the length of the film, and the number of main characters. Of course, they all have backstories, and each of them have their own reasons for getting involved in the heist. And that's what this film is about, a heist. But it took too long for the build-up. The first hour or so was wasted introducing us to the 11 men and showing us how they got on with each other. The movie is 2 hours long. The first hour sets the scene, introduces the characters, and the plan for the heist. The pacing can feel like a drag at times. I think it should have been edited better with less scenes. Then there is the heist itself and the aftermath in the last hour. At least the pacing was better in the second half of the movie. The soundtrack has a fitting jazz genre to go with it. It matches the Las Vegas scenery very well. The remake, however, is not good. Nowhere near as good as the original. No animated intro, like the original. No music, no charm. The remake has the worst casting decisions in comparison. George Clooney, of all people, to cast for Danny Ocean. George Clooney is a complete personality void. He has no character, no style. He is boring as fuck. That is the problem. If your central characters are poorly cast, there is a high chance the rest of the film will suffer. It doesn't do the original any justice, let alone Frank Sinatra. Unfortunately, there are people out there who think George Clooney is a good actor. Unfortunately, there are people out there who think George Clooney is good looking. Stupid people exist. Who knew? These are the people this remake is aimed at, really, a tiny minority. Brad Pitt is good, but it's not his best performance. Matt Damon was okay, but again, this was not his best performance either. Everyone else's performance was mediocre, just plain dull. They didn't seem to care about the movie or the roles they played. No one gives a damn about anybody. But despite all this, the casting is nowhere near as good as the original from the 1960 movie. Even the female casting is no better. Julia Roberts for Tess Ocean? I mean, fuck off! Fuck off! That was the best they can do in 2001. There is no way she can top the beauty and charm of Angie Dickinson, who played Beatrice Ocean in the original. Oh well, what's done is done. There is no chemistry between her and George Clooney. Of course not. The remake lacks the charm of the 1960 film. You can't make a movie where actors don't give a shit about the roles they play. You can't act when there is no passion in your role play. The right emotions cannot be expressed. It won't come through. In the remake, Las Vegas looks tired. But what do I know? I'm not a gambling addict. The music has a little bit of jazz, but it's not as fitting. It feels forced. At least the original had carefully crafted music to match the scenes. Nobody is happy to see anyone like in the original. The remake has more filler in it than the original. It drags on. Such as, what was the point of the scene where a car races a remote control car? That made no sense. The problem is, the characters didn't have proper backstories like the original characters did in order for them to want to take part in the heist, to justify why they want that money in the first place. They were all there because they wanted the money. No relatable external pressure, it comes across hollow. What's the point of wanting the money when you don't say what you want it for? This is what the remake lacks. For example, in the original, one character wanted money so that his kid can get an education. After all, it's a man's job to be the provider for his wife and kid. Finally, the original had a good twist in the end. There is a moral to the story. I won't spoil it here, but the remake lacks depth, which doesn't add value to the movie or the story. The remake could easily have been 90 minutes long, with better pacing and with suspense, but they dragged it on to meet the obligatory 2-hour runtime. So, my verdict for the 2001 remake is, don't watch it. The original beats the remake. My verdict for the original 1960 Ocean's 11, watch it. Thank you for listening. Take good care of yourselves.